Everybody, it's Ryan Haggerty from Pi Records. I'm here with Amalia Bloom. How are you guys?
We're fine.
We're fine,
How are you?
thanks.
Oh, very good. So, I want to talk about first the name of your band. Where does that come from?
What do you?
Mhm.
Okay. The name of the band is pretty singular somehow. We wanted to pay our respects to James Joyce, the famous writer in the 20th century who wrote the Ulysses and many other novels. And I am a huge fan of James Joyce. He's also really present in our record as an inspiration for our lyrics. And yeah, Amalia Bloom is like a mix of an actual name of a girl that inspired James Joyce to depict um, the character of Molly Bloom in the Ulysses. So there was this girl Amalia, which was real, who was real, and Molly, that's the fictional counterpart in the novel. So we like mixed them, and Amalia Bloom came out. That's us.
Oh, it's great. That's really interesting. Um, when I listen to your record, um, I get sort of a hardcore punk feeling. How would you describe your music?
Oh, we usually describe our music as post-hardcore, emo post-hardcore, but yes, we definitely have this huge punk influence in our music. We all grew up listening to 90s, 80s hardcore, or maybe um, punk, 70s punk, and so definitely yes, we have a huge influence in hardcore and punk.
Um, so your record was put out by a number of record labels, and I want to
Yes.
talk about how it feels to you to have the support of the labels from all over the world.
It actually feels great because whenever uh, we made a deal with a different record label, it always felt like someone truly understood the message we want to carry to the public somehow. And also, it is awesome just because that's our first time, in a like serious band. So putting out records this way feels really different than it used to be during our teenage years. Like we used to play in two different bands before Amalia Bloom, and we always followed the DIY ethic as we are doing now, but in a really unprofessional way. So now we get to know new people. We get to do many other things we never thought we could have done ever. So it feels really great.
So, are you guys located in Italy?
Sorry.
Where are you located?
In Italy, yes, in
Yeah.
northeast, in Vicenza, which is in Italy, yes.
It's
Okay.
like 80 kilometers away from Venice. That's how we describe
Yeah.
where we come from usually. Because
Uh,
everyone knows Venice, nobody knows our city.
I know the feeling.
Perfect.
um, so, how has COVID affected you in your neighborhood?
Oh, definitely. In the very beginning of the happening of COVID, our lifestyle changed a lot. So we faced the quarantine very soon, like in March.
It's like the second week of March, I guess. Like the 11th, I guess.
Yes.
10th, 11th
So
March.
uh, yes, our lifestyle changed, and our life as a band also changed. We were forced to cancel shows, tour, and so yes. it made a big difference, you know, in our life.
Did you find that using that time creatively kind of gave you a reason to kind of keep going on?
Yeah, sure. The only thing we wanted to do after quarantine was just to add to our rehearsal space and play and play and play and start to play, you know. But also over this, there were big issues because our rehearsal space is shared with many other people, so it wasn't safe to play there until like the mid July, mid
Yes.
yeah the yeah at break of July we started rehearsing again, I guess. So after quarantine, so like when June passed, we also waited another month before we were able to get to the rehearsal space. So yeah,
We've we've been creative a lot also during the
sorry.
quarantine because we were able to record a song
Oh
that we
yeah.
put out at Eternity's Gate. We recorded this single. Actually, we recorded the drum before the quarantine, so all we did was record guitars and vocals and bass and mix it all. And yes, and we wrote also a lot of music during the quarantine too.
That's great. I love to
And
hear.
after quarantine as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love to hear the stories that people tell about how they use the time to write and sometimes record. Um, because it's always good to have more music, and like I know it's a rough time for bands, but a lot of bands use this time creatively, which I think is a bonus for the fans.
Sorry,
But
can you repeat because we just lost signal for like 10 seconds, so
Oh,
we didn't hear what you said.
I just like to hear the stories about how people and bands are being creative, using this time to be creative, and it's a bonus to fans and listeners.
yes,
Yeah.
and,
Okay. Sorry.
as a musician, but also as people, we needed to. Well, music has always been a way to face stuff in life, to come si dice, to cope, to
Hmm.
cope with life situations, and this one was a very particular one. No one was ready, so
Yeah, definitely not ready.
so yes, music helped a lot during.
Also, a cool fact about, yeah, let's call it cool. It's not cool actually, but um, we actually didn't write music during quarantine. We just, started to brainstorm ideas, started to write them down, but they were just ideas. There weren't not any songs. And after we started playing again in our rehearsal space, like after two rehearsals, we started writing, and now we have a
Yes.
really huge amount of songs that are not ready yet, obviously, but are in the works. So we are really happy with what we are doing now. So
Hmm.
Where when the quarantine is over and we're kind of back to normal, where do you guys usually go and play? Do you venture out of Italy, or you kind of stay in the country?
Oh, we were supposed to tour Europe and Italy also, but yes,
in May, so
in May. So now we have to book the tour again and try it again.
it will be tough. It will be very tough. But we can make it. I believe in us.
This question is for both of you. On your respective instruments, who would you say is the most influential player for you?
Wow, that's a great question.
Hmm.
I know the answer. If you want.
Bye bye.
Um, my job in the band is like screaming and singing. So I'd say that even though they're not really relatable with our genre, I'd say Rao Reynolds from Enter Shikari because it can stretch very well from like screaming and really sweet vocals and everything in between. So both artistically, so the way he writes lyrics, the way he puts his voice in the songs, and musically, I'd say I'd really go with Rao Reynolds from Enter Shikari.
Okay.
Oh, that's a great question. Hmm. I would probably say Adrian from Big Thief, which is one of my favorite band. Uh, Her writing style and her style of guitar playing to me is really blown me away, and I can't stop listening to. Then I don't have a go-to guitar player which I look to. I have a lot of influences, but yes, in punk rock, I'd say my favorite musician is probably Fat Mike, but he's not a guitar player, so. But yes.
They're one of my favorites too, for sure. Them and the Descendants.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
Yeah.
Probably my two favorite. But when I heard your group, um, David Gamage from Engineer Records sent me some copies, and he's
Hi,
been
David. Thanks.
yeah
Thanks a lot.
he's really cool. And when he sent me the record, I was surprised at how aggressive it is. Um, in respect to the other bands he has on his label, you guys sound a lot more aggressive. Can you tell me what inspires that?
Um, I'd say that we we never wanted, to look aggressive or look, you know, harsh or something. We just wanted to express um, some kind of, I'd say, that anxiety that takes you from the insides and then you start to freak out, So it's not an intention, it's just the natural consequence to what we wanted to say in the lyrics, in the music. So I don't think I have someone I get inspired from for this, or a band, neither a song. I don't know.
Uh, it came uh, came out naturally, I think. So we all have different musical background, and in Maiden Voyage you can hear all those things, but we try to melt our influences, and so maybe we have, yes, that aggressive side, but also the more melodic side, and that all come from our different, very different musical background. But yeah, it's just as far as the screaming part, the aggressive part is concerned, I say that um, there's things that you cannot say without screaming. You have to scream.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Well, I really enjoyed the album. Um, you can
Thanks
you,
a lot.
Thanks.
it was very refreshing and new, and it seems like not a lot of people are doing that style right now. Um, so when I got to hear it, it was like, oh, finally there's this kind of this raw energy in music, and I really enjoyed the record a lot. Could you tell me how you got in contact with the label's engineer?
Oh, I started working on this production. I was like, I wanted to have vinyls and CDs and try to publish them through record labels. So at first I came in touch with a bunch of Italian labels, and then I got in touch with a UK label called Disillusion Records that sent our material to David, and David reached out, and that's it.
Oh, that's
And we started collaborating and working together.
It's great. Is there anything else before we sign off? Is there anything else you'd like to talk about or mention to the viewers or listeners?
I'd say that keep an eye on us because we're writing some very cool new material. And yeah, check our latest single, check out our first record, Maiden Voyage, and if you like it, I'm sorry, be sure to support us, and if you like
Share
it,
it with your friends too.
yeah, share it with your friends and buy the vinyl maybe.
The vinyl sounds great.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Also, it was very hard to get the vinyls. Like
Yeah.
it was our first time like producing an album, and so we have the vinyls and we had to ship them like to Canada, United States, and so it was really our first time doing that. It was cool too.
Yeah, it was
And
took a
difficult,
very
yes.
long time. Also because we like managed to do everything around the end of March, but then quarantine started, and so like the vinyls were ready maybe in June, so we